Hey, welcome to your local fast food chain. Can I take your order?
Yeah, can I get a double cheeseburger, large fries, some tots, and I guess a diet soda?
Hi, it's Sav and Jess. Welcome to And a Diet Soda, an opportunity for people to celebrate their successes, share their failures, and hopefully give a little advice on all things relatable along the way.
This community is for appreciating the little things and fostering positive mindsets and intuitive thoughts by talking to people, because chances are they've been through it too.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Sav.
And I'm Jess, and welcome to And a Diet Soda, episode 12, a pre-med student's unique journey.
Today, we're going to be talking with Tyler Young, a pre med student who is passionate about lifting others up in a world of chance that medicine is. Tyler's always uplifting others on social media and his personal life. And he always makes sure that everybody feels good about their journey, no matter where it is that you are on that path. So, thank you so much, Tyler, for being here. We're so excited.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
we
you so
are
much.
so excited.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this podcast for literally weeks, and it's just a beautiful day, so I'm outside. I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm enjoying the weather, soaking it up, living my best life.
We love that. We love the background too.
Thank you.
All right. So, Tyler, we're just going to jump right into it. We want to first know how you decided to go into medicine and why you want to be a doctor. And this isn't meant to be like a medical school interview. I know that you're going to get
Yeah.
asked that, but we just want to know kind of what put you on that path.
So for me, I don't stem from like a long bloodline of physicians. If anything, I was the first in my family to go down this route. We don't have a nurse, we don't have like a pharmacist. There's no one in my family who went down this route. So I can't really say that anyone in my family inspired me to take this route. It was all me, and I just fell in love with medicine itself. There's a culmination of so many different factors which led me on this journey and which caused me to continuously go down this journey, even in times where I felt like the odds were stacked heavily against me. I just fell in love with medicine. And I want to say the one thing that just like really inspired me to keep going was the time that I did shadow a physician and I watched the surgery, and I was just like totally, I guess, infatuated with the entire surgery. And throughout, it was like a 7 hour procedure. And from like uh, when we were rounding with the patients to, it started with roundings, and then we rounded with the patients, and then we had a little intermission with the physician. It was just like we had a little break, and then we went directly to the OR. And that like 6 hour surgery that I just stood there and I watched every from anesthesia to, uh, I guess, using the scalpel to cut open the patient. It was a brain tumor, so it was removing a meningioma. And just this entire time, I was just so in love with the process. Like I was covered in goosebumps. It wasn't because the OR was like 40 degrees, which it is extremely cold. It was just I knew this was what I wanted to do. Ever since that moment, I've been doing everything in my power to to the get to the place where I'm able to I guess follow my dreams and really pursue becoming a physician. I guess that was almost like my moment that I knew it where I wanted to become a physician, but it's a culmination of so many different factors which led me down this journey.
Awesome. I feel like that well, personally, I've shadowed surgery as well, and I don't think that I want to go into surgery as my future career, but for me, it was the exact same thing. I don't know why surgery is just so like, I don't know. I think the way you said it, infatuated with it, is a perfect way to speak about it because for me, I was like, yeah, this is it. That's totally it.
Yeah, and then even throughout all my shadowing other opportunities, it just added more fuel to the fire, and I knew becoming a physician was meant for me. And I constantly talk about like even if I won like 100 million in the lottery, which literally will never happen, but if I had like millions in the bank, I would still want to pursue becoming a physician. It's not so much the money aspect; it's just that I feel like it's my calling for medicine, and I just am going to do everything in my power to end up at that journey, at that final point, and become a physician.
Yeah, and to find something that you're so passionate about in life, it's so important to just hold on to that and pursue it to the best of your abilities. I mean, when we first talked, you shared and you share on Instagram too, how you had to retake the Mcat and reapply to medical school. And so, can we just talk about that whole process and what it felt
Yeah,
like?
Do you want to know about last process or last cycle, or like where I stand right now,
I
or like,
want to know about it all. I want to know about your thought
okay,
process. Yeah.
all right, we're diving in deep. So last cycle, with the virus, I don't know if I can like the virus, you know what's going on. I know that social media is weird and they'll like censor if you talk about it, but the virus happened, and so my MCAT was canceled 4 times, and that added so much anxiety on me. And I knew that the MCAT was my final barrier preventing me from medical school. I placed so much pressure on myself to do well on this MCAT. I just fell short of that. And so I already submitted my application. I applied to like 19 schools already. I was waiting for my MCAT to upload. And so it did upload onto this the application, and it was just not where I wanted to be. And that really is one of the worst feelings, because being so in love with this field and knowing that it's my calling and it's what I want to do, and then just to fall short because one test on one day determines the rest of my life, and not doing well on that test, it just sucks, plain and simple. And so last cycle, I mean, it was not a good time in my life, but I got through it. I eventually was rejected from every school I applied to, so 19 in total. And now I'm planning to submit my application this upcoming week, which is super exciting. I'm feeling so confident about it. I'm so excited. I fell in love with my personal statement and my activities. I'm still working on, but that's kind of holding me back. But other than that, retaking the MCAT, I went in very confident this time. I walked in like my mom was Stanford and my dad was Harvard Medical School. I walked in like I knew every single question. Like every question was leaked to me, even though it wasn't. I was under the impression like no pressure on myself at all, because I knew last time from when I took the MCAT previously, I really put a lot of strain on myself and so much anxiety, and that hindered my performance. And there was a dramatic decrease from my full lengths that I took in a, I guess, all right mindset to my actual MCAT, where I put so much pressure on myself. There was a drastic decrease. So I knew walking in, like, I obviously know the content. I've been studying for this exam for a year and a half. Like, if I don't know it now, like, I'll never know it. So I knew the content going in for that. And so it was just a mindset thing. I knew that I needed to have a positive and confident mindset, because that's what held me back last time. And I know it's going to propel me forward this time. So I'm excited for this MCAT, and just I put my all into it, and I just hope it takes me to the destination where I want to reach.
That's awesome. So you don't have to share, but you already got your MCAT back then, and then you can apply next week, you said?
Yeah, so I'm planning to submit everything next week, and I do have my school list, which is super exciting. It's like I can use MSR and I know where I fall with everything. So yeah, it was an increase from last time.
Amazing.
And yeah, I'm just excited that it all worked out, and just I went through with it,
Oh
because I
my gosh. I
remember.
mean, you say it didn't just all work out. You worked for this. Like it's not like you just sat back. Like you're so nonchalant about it. But no, you put your like blood, sweat, and tears into this. Like things don't just work out. Like you
Yeah,
earned it.
I I mean, I could have taken the road after being rejected from all these schools last time, where I could have just been like, you know what, I'm going to just throw in the towel. I'm going to pursue another occupation. I'm going to do something else. But at the same time, I just didn't want to give up on myself. And I, I studied and I put my hard work into it, and it did, I guess, all work out with a little bit of hard work. But I'm saying this now without any acceptance or anything. But I'm feeling very confident this cycle, and I know it will all just work out in the end.
I think you're so you motivate me because I mean I told you on our intro call that I have to retake and reapply, and I'm doing a postbac right now, but it's so hard to not give up on yourself in those moments. And I'm the same way. Like there is not a plan B for me. It's just like, okay, what do I got to do next to get to where I'm going? So it's just really inspiring to hear where you're at and how you've managed to, get down, but then pick yourself back up and start all over again. So that actually leads me to a question that I wanted to ask you, because this field is really challenging and it's a lot longer. It takes a long time to get there than most people even realize. So, what advice would you give to somebody who may be interested in medical school, but maybe is disadvantaged or is unsure how the entire process works?
Yeah, so I can relate to the struggles as being a first generation pre-medical student, as well being, I guess, the lower socioeconomic background. So I did qualify for the peer assisting program, and I guess it can be really challenging at some points, where you're studying with your friends and their parents are doctors, lawyers, and it's just like they don't have to try to balance a job and try to study for the Mcat, or like they don't have to do XYZ. But at the same time, I just feel like once you know your worth and once you know your passion, you'll never settle. So once you realize like this is my calling, like yeah, there might be barriers in my way, but at the end of the day, I'll try to overcome these barriers. And if anything, it will only feel so much better when you are able to overcome these barriers that I guess no one else had, or like a few people had, and just make it to your final destination. I feel like the best advice I have for people is just to really realize your worth and never settle for anything less than you feel like you're worth. I mean, there were so many times where I should have just, I guess, stuck, not been friends with people, and I was only their friends for XYZ reasons. And it's just like that friendship only brought me down. It only added anxiety to my life, and it just really subtracted from my endpoint. And I wish I would have just knew my worth, because I would go to these people and ask for help, when it comes to applying to medical school, or I thought I just like wouldn't be able to make it without them there. And now like this time I like completely cut people out of my life who were just in my life for the wrong reasons. And I've been able to just really propel forward and really, I guess, approach this new application cycle with such a positive mindset. And it's just been amazing since that. So I really recommend it. Don't settle. Don't ever settle for your dreams. Don't ever settle for friendships. Don't ever settle for jobs. Don't ever settle for, I guess, anything in life. When you know your worth, go for it. The only person that's stopping you at the end of the day is yourself. So really just go out, chase your dreams, and just aspire to be anything, because no one's stopping you except you. And I wish someone would have told me that as just like a little crusty pre-med freshman in college, where just like I thought I had to be friends, or I thought I had to use these resources. I thought I had to have this person in my life. I thought I'd be nothing without this person. And now that these people aren't in my life, I'm just flourishing. Yeah, for sure. Know your worth and never settle. That's the best advice I can give to anyone.
I love that, because I was in a very similar situation. I also applied and was granted the fee assistance. I'm the first person in my family to go to college. And it's so crazy to even recognize that there are people in the world who have doctors as parents, or who have all of these resources. That's something that's crazy to think about. And for whoever's listening and you might be in that position, totally take advantage of not being able to have a job, right? I mean, do the best you can. This isn't hate on anyone, but just being able to really understand each other's situations is so important for friendship. So I wanted to ask you a question, and you kind of answered a little bit about how important a support system was for you throughout this entire thing, and what that looked like, whether that be friends or family, and how you were able to get to that really core support system.
Yeah, so I would recommend just have like one or two like really close friends, tell them everything. I feel like the more people you add to your inner circle, the more issues and more drama arises. And for me, it took me so long to realize that, because I'm the type of person, I could be friends with literally anyone. You could sit me in a group of 50 people and I could become friends with all of them at the end of a party or whatever. But at the end of the day, do you want 50 pennies or do you want 2 quarters? So I'd much rather have 2 quarters and just have someone who's just like my ride or die through undergrad and then through medical school, just someone I'm extremely close with. And I really appreciate the very few friends that I have in my inner close circle. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of superficial friendships. Like I'll run into people and be like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you doing? XYZ. I mean, it's just superficial at the end of the day. I wouldn't really consider them friends. And I feel like I have an extremely high threshold to consider someone my friend. And I'm just thankful for the extremely close friends that I do have, because at the end of the day, I could turn to them and tell them anything and they would be supportive, or they'd give me the best advice. So I really appreciate the friends that I do have.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other side of that too is if you're in this position, either in medical school already or a physician, just being helpful to others too, because it's just so important. Like just you remember when you were in their position once, or in our position where you're just trying to get there. So offering advice to people, even if it's unsolicited. I know sometimes it's like they don't want to hear the advice or whatever, but just being willing to help people. And when you are in the position of wanting the help, don't forget that most of the time, I would say like 99% of the time, that person in a position of power is so excited to help you. I mean, I remember being so scared to ask people for help when I was in like high school and college, being like, oh, they don't want to make the time for me. But now being in a position where I feel like I can help people and to kind of discover their path, I am all about it. And so I just encourage you to just ask people for help. I mean, they're not, chances are they're not going to say no.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
sorry, I just want to chime into that really fast. If someone is listening right now and you've had somebody look you dead in the eye and tell you that you're not going to be able to get to where it is that you want to go, you walk out that door and you find another door and you go and you talk to somebody else, even if it takes multiple people, because I have been told way more times in my life, like I've been told no so many times, like I can't even count. And only a couple yeses is all you need. And that support system is all you need to build you up to get to where you need to go. You don't need to listen to anybody who tells you that you can't do it, because if it's something that you truly want, there is always a way that you can get there. Always.
the amount of times I've been told that I would never make it to this journey, or that make it through this journey, or that I should end early or do X, Y, Z, on I can't even count those. So I just continued to have a positive mindset, and then just, I guess, vent to those close friends that I do have. And then to touch base on asking people for help, I truly remember every single person along this journey who's went out of their way to help me. And I want to make it my life mission to give back to those people that helped me. So I guess I've always been saying this, but the only reason I ever want more in life is so I can give more. And so when I have the ability to give back to these people that helped me, I 100% will. And then also advice, one of my weaknesses I would say is I don't ever ask for help. I'm the type of person who I don't want to be like bothersome and go like, oh yeah, I need your help. Like I need to, I guess I don't want to depend on people. And that's one of my weaknesses. And that's definitely not the case. If you need help, go out, go find a mentor, go find someone who truly believes in you. And it will just really help you get through this tough process. So I wish I'm the type of person who just like wants to do it all, everything. I guess you can consider me like a yes man, because like people always ask me for like, do you want to do this, XYZ? And I'm always like, yes, let's do it. And I don't know. I just wish that I could like balance everything as well as ask for help when I need it. Because I'm the type of person I never ask for help for anything. That's truly one of my weaknesses. And it does come back to bite me. There's so many times where my life would have been 50 times easier if I would have went out on a limb and just asked someone like, hey, can you help with this? So yeah, I really recommend asking for help when you need it.
Yes, absolutely. That's something that we preach on here a lot, is be your own advocate and ask for help when you need it. So I love that. I mean, so you mentioned balancing all of these things, and it's so easy to, when you're like so one track mind and you're so motivated to get to doing something, like in your case, getting into medical school, it's really easy for that to become almost your identity and all you think about. But the truth is, you have so much more going on in your life. I mean, we talked about before that you're so into fitness, and you have all these other areas of your life that kind of contribute to making you a well-rounded person, and in the future a well-rounded doctor, which is going to be amazing. So let's get into the fitness a little bit. How'd you first get into that, and how does it help you to relieve all the stress of applying to med school, being a future doctor, and all that?
Yeah, so I'm happy you brought this up. I mean, for the past 4.5 years, when I applied to medical school, my only identity was medical school. I didn't really do anything for fun. My fun was opening my Mcat books, going through Anki, and then studying for the Mcat. That was my fun. And so I really discovered fitness after I was rejected. Once I got that final rejection, I just started hitting the gym. I was just like, I put all my mindset into the applying to medical school, becoming a physician, and I still didn't get in. And it's just like, what if I split that mindset? What if 50% I put into fitness, the other 50% I put into becoming a physician still? And so how I really started was this one like fit Instagrammer messaged me. He's like, oh, you want to do this program, whatever. It's like $140. And I was just like, I knew if I paid, I'd be committed, because I didn't pay, I'd be like, no, I'll take today off. Like I'll go another day. But since I had to pay for it, I paid like $140 for this. And I had to like beg the guy every day. I'm like, can you please put my lifts in? I begged him, and it was just awful. But I made friends through that. So I'm thankful I did pay, because I would have never been as consistent at the beginning. And so once I became consistent, I just started making friends at the gym. We'd hit the gym every day. it was just a good way to unravel after a long day of studying it. And it was something I always looked forward to. I mean, you, just like lifting was fun, but then like hanging out with like the gym bros was fun too. It was just an escape. So I actually really fall in love with lifting. I'm at the gym right now outside, just hanging. But I'm thankful that I did originally pay for that because I knew the commitment. I would have never became what it is right now if I didn't pay because I had that money invested. I'm just like, I really need to attend the gym and get my money's worth out of this fitness program that I paid, which is absolutely nothing. But I mean, looking back, I'm thankful I did.
Yeah, I think it's super important for physicians to be well-rounded individuals as a whole. Like if medicine is your entire life, I don't really think that it can make you very personable to your patients. And so to be able to focus on other aspects of your life and bring those into medicine and who you are, it's huge. So actually one of the reasons that we've been so excited to have you on the podcast is you're one of only two males so far to be on the podcast, and we really want to like dive into this with you. So we're interested in the realm of health and fitness and what it's like for men. So how often do you feel unequipped or maybe that you're not fitting society's norm of what a man should be? And you can share whatever you feel the most comfortable
Yeah,
with sharing. You don't have to go too deep or whatever.
yeah. So I feel like I'm the type of person I learned to never compare myself to anyone. I kind of disconnected from society's norms and I'm just doing me right now. So I feel like I just like never compare myself or never find myself uh com- I guess norm thinking about the norms of society. I'm just living each day by each day and just doing me. So I don't know. I feel like I don't really have a good answer to that one. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's something that's so different between men and women though. I feel like I don't know why, but everybody that we've talked to so far that are women, we focus so much on society so and what society thinks of us. So we are really just interested in seeing what that's like. So okay, let me
I
try to
guess
read.
for me, I guess I can say that I'm kind of in like a state of privilege, I guess, because like in the hospital or whatever, like I can be shadowing or whatever. People think I'm a physician. I'm like 12, like relax, I'm not a physician. But I guess society norms, I just really haven't had any negative stigmas or anything against me. And it could be because of just like male privilege or whatever. But at the end of the day, I just never like a 0% thought ever goes into what should I do to be norm or like fit into society's norms or like nothing like that ever.
Tyler, I don't mean this in the nicest way possible, but there has got to be something more to that. Like we don't just walk out confident as hell one day. Like I'm interested in the thought process behind that because I totally get that and I totally like
Yeah.
respect you for being so like don't even care, but like there's a thought process behind that and I really want to know like how you convince yourself that and how you do that in your life.
I mean, I just truly disconnected because at the end of the day, I learned to love myself and I realized that no one's opinion can bring me down. And I guess I remember growing up, like walking into Walmart, you'd see like people in like pajamas and like almost judge them or whatever. But I feel like those are the most confident people in society who can leave their house in pajamas and truly not care what anyone thinks of them. And for me, I would always be the person like leave my house in the city, go to the library in pajamas, and literally not care what anyone thinks about me. And my life has just been amazing since then. So I I don't know. It took a lot to get me to this point, but there's not one person's view of me that can bring me down. It really took a lot to build up this mentality, but there's nothing that can hurt me at this point. I mean, yeah, if my close friends were to attack me, like attack an insecurity of myself, like not getting into medical school the first time and like truly meant something, like yeah, that would hurt. But at the end of the day, nothing like can bring me down, especially from a stranger. Like I don't even know you. I won't see you ever again in like 20 minutes. Like I literally don't care. See ya.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome. Those are such powerful sayings to keep repeating to yourself. I mean, I think
Yeah,
that it's a habit thing. Like if you just keep saying these things over and over, you're gonna believe them eventually.
yeah, for sure. It did take a
okay.
lot to get here. I was always the person who would like constantly seek reassurance from other people. I would bury myself in like expensive name brands that I obviously couldn't afford just to have that friendship or just to have these people go out of their way to contact me or try to be my friend. And that was not the mentality that I wanted to have or that I should have. And I don't want my friends to like me for myself. I want them to like me for me. So I just realized that I'm doing my own thing. I'm wearing rag. I love rags. I love wearing just like not nice clothing and just like, I mean, I'm doing something right because I don't know. I like have the best friends in the world. And the thing about me is like, I'm the type of person who I'm used to, okay, so I'm used to not having friends. Like I'm used to not hanging out with people like in, I guess, earlier college stage. And now that like more people keep hitting me up, like I'm always like, yeah, I'm down. And then I'll realize I like have plans with 5 different people on the same day. So I need to get that together. But I guess I don't know. I just learned not to care, and I don't seek reassurance from anyone, doing my own thing and just living life to the fullest. I don't need anyone's just, I don't know where I'm going with that. I don't need any
No, good.
like,
That's fantastic. I'm as a personal people pleaser. I really aspire to be more like that. I do, and it's something that I've been working on recently because no matter what, you're gonna have those thoughts. And so even if the important part is when you have a thought like that, it's what you do after. It's not that like, oh, you're a failure because you're concerned about what someone else thought. It's that, oh, I think this, and now I'm gonna adjust my thought process and change that. And I think that's where the work comes in and where the practice comes in with it.
Yeah. So I feel that a lot of men really find a lot of self-worth in their career. I don't know if you can speak to that at all, or if that's something that you feel, or maybe I'm just grabbing that out of thin air from random guys that I know. But I feel like that's, for women, we feel so much self-worth in so many aspects of our lives, like how pretty we are, what our body looks like, how well we can cook food, whatever, yada yada yada. And for men, I feel like a lot of you can, who cares what people think, but where do you, where do you get that self-worth from, and how does your career fit into that?
so I definitely feel like career might be one of just like the umbrella, one of the umbrella terms, I guess, that lead to self-worth. For I definitely feel like income per year is one of the factors where people just really determine their worth, like what they're doing or like how highly they value themselves. So I feel like career is along those lines, but at the end of the day, it's like always about money. And I kind of step back from money. I don't care about money. Like I haven't had money my entire life. Someone said to me that I should consider another career path because I could make more money than being a pre-medical student for 7 years, which will be my case, my likely the path that I'm going to take. Like you should do XYZ. And then I was just like, it's not about the money. Like it's never been about the money. I fell in love with this passion. And so many people at the end of the day are only doing certain careers. I'm not saying medicine, but certain careers just for the money. And at the end of the day, numbers never end and you'll never truly be happy. You'll always want more and more. And so I just really want people to go out and like find something they're passionate about and not really just like rely solely on what they're doing, like how prestigious their job is or their money at the end of the day. Because yeah, numbers don't end, and just you'll never truly be happy. Like you need to find something that you're really passionate towards. And thankfully medicine was my calling and I found it. But I've known so many people that post-graduate or post-undergrad, they're really struggling with this and they're really just like, I don't make this much money, or I want to make more. Like I'm at that six figure threshold. I want more. And it's always like more and more and more. And so I've definitely seen the bad side of that personally from my friends.
Yeah. And just speaking to that a little bit, it's important to be creative with your passions. If you we talk so much on this podcast about the linear path and how if you say in middle school, oh, I like kids, people are going to be like, you should be a teacher. And then all of a sudden you're on this teacher path for the rest of your life. And maybe you're not so happy with that when there are so many creative ways and creative avenues that you can take with that. Like maybe you like kids, but you end up being a business major and you open up a nonprofit and it services children in some sort of way. There's so many different ways that people keep telling you that you should be on this path and this is what's going to make you money and this is traditional, when in reality you can take your passion and run with it in however many different little side hustles you want, however many different directions you want, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, I never had money as a factor, which is why I want to do something. I knew that if I would do something, I'd be the best at it and money would follow. That's always just been in the back of my mind. Like, obviously, I want money to survive and like get through life. So, I mean, I'm gonna just fall in love with something I'm good at, and then I know that the money will come after. It's never been like money first ever in my entire life.
I think it's really cool to see. Well, first, you're taking our questions very well, because I know it's probably not like the previous podcast, and we're digging a
Oh,
little
let them
deeper.
out. Dig as deep as you can dive. I want to hear it all.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I just think it's
nothing's
Nothing's off
Um,
limits.
yeah, nothing's off limits. Let's hear it.
I just think it's really cool to see. I mean, it's obviously different. I say men and women, and I shouldn't say that. It's just different per person, really. But it's cool to see. I think you as a person, it's apparent when you look at you that like you know who you are. You know what you want, and I feel like that's a huge factor in this. And like your confidence and finding happiness is like once you really know who you are and find what it is that you want, like what else really matters? Nobody can judge you at that point. Like you know that you're so great with where you're at and with where you want to be, like nothing really matters.
You truly could not have said that more perfect. So I appreciate you for that.
Say, okay, perfect, awesome. Sorry, Jess, go ahead, ask your question. Didn't mean to cut
No,
you off.
I'm like infatuated with this conversation. I love it. It's full of so much power and so much like self-love.
Yeah.
So, so kind of as we touched on a little bit ago with fitness and toxic masculinity and all this society, how they perceive you and everything. On this podcast, we have heard from so many women that have struggled with disordered eating or eating disorders, and it's such a stereotypical like woman issue. Basically, it's like if you're a man, people don't assume that you struggle with that. But I've seen it firsthand with people in my life, and we were just wondering if you could share your personal journey a little bit with what it's been like with your body image and how your body's changed getting into fitness and your relationship with fitness, nutrition, and how that's looked
Yeah,
over the years. I know that's such a loaded
great,
question. I'm
great
sorry.
question. No, that's awesome. So growing up, I've always been that super skinny, like awkward, tall, like noodle spaghetti, just like super skinny. And so it wasn't until the last job that I had, it was during COVID, and I guess I was putting on a little too many pounds, whatever. And one of my coworkers was like, "Tyler, you're looking fat." This is the first time ever in my entire life, like I've never been called. I've always been like that awkward, super skinny kid. So someone calling me fat, I was just like, wow, this like actually like low key kind of hurts. Like I've never
What
been
a
called fat.
dick.
Yeah, I've never been called fat in my entire like I looked down and yeah, my gut was like busting out of my pants. I mean, whatever. How would you notice? That was just like weird and kind of like very uncomfortable at that time. So I mean, that wasn't really a factor on why I started lifting, but it was just like for the first time in my life that like I looked in the mirror and I was just like, wow, okay, maybe like I'm not this like skinny tall kid anymore. Maybe I'm just like mm, down a different route. And so I just like fall in love with lifting. And so I've been eating a lot. So to get bigger, you have to eat a lot. So I've just been like eating so much. And I guess it's so satisfying to see myself going from this like awkward little skinny noodle kid to like bigger. So I'm doing a dirty bulk. So for those of you that aren't really into the lifting, whatever. So
Oof.
bulking is eating a lot. And then yeah, it's eating a lot, but it's not eating healthy. So I just eat a lot. So I can go to McDonald's and eat like 5 Big Macs back to back, but then I'll go to the gym and like lift by myself for 3 hours and just essentially burn it all off. But I still want to have a surplus of calories. So I'm putting on that weight because I don't want to be that skinny, awkward noodle kid anymore. I definitely, when I'm at the gym, I channel when people would, I guess, make fun of me for being skinny, like pale, tall kid, and I channel that and I put it into my effort in the gym and I've seen the results, so I'm going to keep going. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. At the same time, I reflect back on, I guess, that time where I was called fat and I would never want to body shame anyone. And I've seen online where there's people who are doing like obviously steroids, whatever, huge, and I see like TikTokers are like body shaming them, or like someone who's lean and lost a lot of weight but they're still like super ripped, and there's like body shame about. Body shaming is just like a very broad term. It shouldn't be applied to just one situation. And I could never go out and just put someone down based on how they look. And that's just definitely not all right. So be nice to people because they don't forget about the names that you call them, or like, then
Yeah.
they really stick. The names, they stick. And I can think back vividly to that time at work where out of the blue, like, oh, Tyler, you're fat. Like, all right, what did you gain from that? That's just not okay. I'd never want to put anyone in that situation where they feel like they need reassurance from people based on their body, or they want to pursue this image and they'll do anything to pursue this image, and that's just not okay.
Absolutely. And I think that like when you were talking about the bulking phase, I think that for any sort of diet, the healthy or unhealthy aspect of it comes from your thoughts behind it. Like for a lot of women who are cutting calories or whatever, that is just because men and women have different body types and you have to fuel them in different ways. You could be on a diet and have really negative thoughts and it makes that unhealthy, or you could be bulking and on a really heavy, high calorie diet and still have negative thoughts behind that. And that also makes it unhealthy. And it really scares me sometimes to see people just taking in so many calories in such a negative way to try like, I don't know, like that I just hate that. So what are some of like the positive thoughts that you feel, and like what are you thinking when you're fueling your body like that to
Oh,
get those
I love food.
gains?
So I eat everything. My mom's always just like, you eat everything in this. Like I eat everything in our house. We eat. There's leftovers for dinner. They're gone from me. They're literally gone. I don't know. I just love eating so much, and it's because I go to the gym and I do definitely work it all out or work a majority of it off. So I don't even have any second thoughts about how much I eat. So I mean, I just love food and I love eating.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't even mean in the way that like, are you eating too much? I mean, like, I think a lot of men feel like, am I eating enough? And that's the scary part for me is like, don't make yourself sick eating all this. Like, you still have to listen to your body. And if it's telling you you're so full, you're going to throw up, don't eat anymore.
Yeah, so at first when I started bulking, I mean, because I've always been very skinny, so I would be filled fast. So I definitely had to overcome, like, I definitely did put myself in a situation where I ignored my body, saying, like, this is too much food and just kept eating because at the end of the day, I wanted to get bigger when I first started. But at the end of the day, I like, don't have those issues anymore. I just, my stomach adjusted for that and I was able to overcome that. So, yeah.
So
Okay.
I have a question about, as a future doctor, right?
Yeah.
I know nutrition is not a part of medicine right now, which is like my ultimate goal in life is to bring that into medicine. But how do you feel about like how that's going to affect your health long term? Yeah, you're working out, you're eating these calories, you're burning them off. What about like your heart health? What about all these things?
You know, I'm taking it day by day. I know I need to get on that healthier diet, especially during Mcat. It was so bad where I was drinking literally like 4 energy drinks a day. So that's like 1,200 milligrams of caffeine. It was so bad. I would go to McDonald's and have like 3 Big Macs, and then I'd go home, and it was so bad. So I need to be more conscious about my future, which is not something I have been doing recently. So I need to start being more serious about my diet and stuff because I do want to have a, a longevity throughout life, and I don't want to be hindered by these health diseases, which could affect me in the near future because of how I've been eating so unhealthy lately. And I just have to take action with it. I've just been ignoring that. I guess I haven't been feeling as guilty as I should have, but I definitely need to be more conscious about the direction I'm headed in life because I know it's going to catch up to me. I know in medical school I'm not going to have 3 hours a day to hit the gym. I know I just need to be more conscious of it.
And I'm really not trying to shame you. I'm just wondering because as somebody in nutrition, I have tried every diet. I've done bulking, I've lifted, like I've done so many things. And I actually think it's cool to it's cool to try everything. I mean, dirty bulks are a thing that people do. That's why there's a name for it. So it's like, it's not meant to shame you. I just was genuinely curious because yeah, you get into school and stuff and you can't work out those 3 hours a day, or maybe
Yeah.
you don't have as much time to really work on your body. So it's just something that I feel like a lot of people do struggle with because they do want to try different things, but then, your body and your life kind of changes, and trying to shift with those changes is just really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we could have an intervention right now to try to get me off the junk food. I might need that, but yeah, I guess I'll have to take it day by day. And when medical school does happen, I will have to heavily consider my diet and be more healthy. And even moving forward, even tomorrow, I just need to be more conscious of what I'm eating because the long term effects of even these like binge drinking energy drinks, it's just something I really need. Energy drinks is something I still struggle with. I've never had an addictive personality to anything in my entire life, ever in my entire life. And I took energy drinks on when I started restudying for the MCAT, and I've never been able to cut them out of my life. They're super addictive, and it's just like I wake up in the morning, I fiend for an energy drink. I need to just completely cut them out of my life and completely stop drinking caffeine for like I want to say like 3 months just to reset my tolerance because it's ridiculous. 1,200 milligrams of caffeine like doesn't even faze me anymore. It's
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm just like
yeah, I say
thinking.
that
Thinking about
Have you tried cocaine?
No, I have not. I don't plan on that. No, I've
Oh
never done that.
my God.
Pre-workout I've done before. Pre-workout like really hits hard. It would make my stomach hurt, so I didn't take pre-workout. But definitely energy drinks get me going, and there's
dude, I can't even
something
drink like one glass of like full caffeinated coffee. I go up the walls. Like I can't even
same.
imagine.
The thing is with caffeine, like coffee caffeine, it would definitely induce like I would have anxiety as a side effect. But with the energy drink caffeine, I don't feel anything. I don't have that anxiety. I don't know if it's just a mindset thing or if it's a different mechanism behind the caffeine and like a different if it was derived from a different way and it just hits differently in energy drinks. But I don't have that anxiety, and that's why I've been clinging to energy drinks versus coffee.
That's so
I don't
crazy.
know. It's strange. Yeah. I'm
You would
just
think that coffee,
crazy.
which like, right, you would think coffee that has like these polyphenols and everything in it that's meant to like be good for your body would like be the opposite. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wait,
so if I have like
coffee's
one
supposed to
shot,
be good for your body?
Well, there's like all of the, it's like eggs, right? One year it's good, one year it's bad. Like it's just
No.
like, oh my gosh, everything is there's polyphenols in coffee just like there is blueberries. Like there's these it's still a plant. Like coffee beans are still a plant. There's like a lot of good nutrients in it, but then we're upping these caffeine. We're doing like cold brews and letting it sit for like days at a time. I don't know, man. Drink your
yeah,
coffee if you want.
one shot of espresso from Starbucks has like 60 milligrams of caffeine in it. So that would be 5 shots of that would equal one energy drink, and I can drink like 3 to 4 energy drinks in a day. So that's like 30 shots of espresso. Whereas if I were to have one shot of Starbucks espresso, I'd feel my heart like pulsating out of my chest, get like numbness in my
Same.
face, versus just like the caffeine and energy drinks, I feel nothing. So I don't know what it is behind that, but I've definitely been distancing myself from coffee recently.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, sorry. Let's shift now. um okay, so and I really hope I didn't make you feel offended. I just wanted to like know how that I
Oh,
was not trying to shame you at all.
no, definitely did not.
Okay, so Tyler, you post so much positivity all the time, like even if you don't mean to, like you take your experiences and try to shift it positively. So we're really interested to know how you manage to stay positive. It'd be great to hear how, like a couple things that you say to yourself or how you speak to yourself to keep up the positivity, especially when you're being told no or you get that MCAT back or all of those rejections. Like, how do you manage to pick yourself up?
Yeah, so I do have those close friends that I vent to. I love voice memos. I'm not a fan of texting, so I just hold down that button and just unleash for like a minute or 2 minutes, and they always voice memo me back. And I love that. That's just such a good de-stressing mechanism. And they don't keep them, so it's gone forever. So I can just unleash, they send it back, it's gone. We don't have to worry about it ever again. That's one of, I guess, coping mechanisms when I am down and I'm not feeling 100%. But I would just advise to stay in your own lane. You know your goals at the end of the day. You're the only one that's preventing yourself from hitting those goals at the end of the day. So once you're in your own lane and you're productive, you see the progress towards your goals, no one can derail you. So the mindset that I have is when I do hit a speed bump or I do hit something where I'm just not feeling 100%, yeah, I'll take time to myself. I'll I guess unplug from social media, because going on social media can be so positive, but it can be so toxic at sometimes. And I just really disconnect from social media when I'm not feeling 100%. That is one thing that I recommend doing. And then the close friends, just having those people that you can literally tell anything to, just being there for you, irreplaceable. And I'm thankful for those friends. So yeah, that I'd say that's 2 ways that I get through it. And then the gym, de-stressing at the gym is just another way to just really get my mind off anything. And it's just a refresher. After leaving the gym, I feel refreshed and like nothing can bring me down. Or channel that negative energy at the gym, slam those weights, slam those 75s when you dumbbell bench press, hit a new PR with that energy. And that's what I've been doing. I hit 70s for the first time in dumbbell bench. So proud of
Nice.
myself. I couldn't even do 30s when I started. Yeah, I could not pick up
Oh,
a 30.
wow.
Now I did 70s. Yeah, proud. But
That's awesome. Tyler, I feel like your motto should be like, hit the gym, don't hit people. Like,
honestly, yeah, make it happen.
That's awesome.
cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm also a very positive person, and sometimes I feel like there's this like line between positivity and when there's too much positivity. And actually,
Yeah, for sure.
not a lot of times, but when something happens, I feel like positivity is not what's going to make me feel better. Like sometimes it'll make me feel worse. Like sometimes I just need to be real for a second and just like be like, that sucked, and accept it, and like what I move on from it. So do you think there's a line for yourself between like,
For sure. Yeah, that overly positive person I feel like is too annoying and almost comes off as phony. So there's a fine threshold that people need to walk when it comes to positivity. And yeah, too much positivity can actually be too much, and just like you kind of veer away from those people. So I'm just like chill to myself, like positive to myself. Like I'll try to reflect positivity and just like not in an overpowering way, just like spreading happiness, I guess. But yeah, there is definitely that line where it's just like, okay, this person, like we're gonna like move 20 feet away from them. But I don't ever want to be that person. I don't know. And then at the end of the day, if someone's like up in my DMs just asking me or like sad about something, I'll always try to I'll try to message them back and just use my prior experiences to guide them in the right direction. So
yeah,
just try to spread positivity, because you don't know what people are facing at the end of the day. You don't know what challenges people are going through. And I have so many messages. I've been pretty bad recently because I've been kind of disconnected from social media. I still prioritize replying to people who reach out to me, but yeah, I have so many messages just like asking me for advice. What should I do for this? And it makes me so happy that people come to me out of everyone. There's millions of people on social media. Why are you coming to me? But I love it at the same time.
yeah, I think that's awesome that you said you never know what people are going through too. So just even if you're not like being positive, just being kind to people and also letting things roll off your back. If someone says something to you, they could be having the worst day of their life. Like it, and that also, I mean, it goes to like if you're having a bad day, just try not to take it out on other people. I know it's really hard. I'm definitely like that at work sometimes too. I just try to like be a little bit quiet if I don't have anything nice to say or if I'm like really
Yes.
mad that day. But yeah, just knowing that it's most likely not really because of you, not directed towards
Yeah.
you.
So in the MCAT, you learn about situational factors and then dispositional factors. And so dispositional is like someone's attitudes, like how they're born with how they react to something on situation. You don't know if they're having a bad day and they're taking that out on you. And so I have a quick little story about that. So during April in Illinois, we had a weird snowstorm, which it's not strange, but it was just like in April, we had this snowstorm. And so I was on a merge, and like this person was driving excessive, just like they would go in my lane so I wouldn't be able to cut them off in the merge. I don't know. It was so weird. Like I wasn't trying to, but they had road rage or something. So I was just like, whatever, like I memorize the plates, like unintentionally memorize the plates, memorize the car, memorize the make. It's just something about me. I know cars, like I really, and so I was at the gas station and I saw the car pull up to me. I'm like, I'm going to say something. The person gets out of their car. It's just like a chemotherapy patient, shaved head or like completely bald head. Like you obviously can tell they're going through chemotherapy. I was just like, oh, like this little like road rage incident probably stemmed from something more. And it's just like, I'm from a place of privilege where it's just like, I wanted to say something. I'm a healthy person, where someone could have just had the worst news. They could have just found out they had cancer. So it's just like, I really need to take a step back and really view all situations as situational approach instead of dispositional approach, and just really not take anything to heart. I mean, after that, I was just like, oh, okay, wow, like there could be so much going on in other people's lives that I don't know about. And that was just like an eye opener. Like I saw the car and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna say something like, remember when you had road rage or something. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna not say something anymore. But yeah.
I wasn't giving you a thumbs down to your story. I was giving you a thumbs down to the MCAT because just that word gives me like PTSD.
Yeah,
But
the MCAT is yeah, it's still triggering for me
yeah.
to this day. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I really have either of you ever either read or watched the video This Is Water? You guys should check it out. It's really awesome. There's one video that's it's by David Foster Wallace. It's actually a graduation commencement speech, but somebody like put a video with it, and it's basically his speech is talking about those different situations that people are going through in life. And maybe that lady in front of you in the checkout line just had a really long day, or maybe her husband's in the hospital or something, or just instead of thinking that everybody else around you is in your way, sort of seeing them as other humans with their own lives. So it's actually a really cool little video, something to check
Link
out.
me. I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, I'll watch it tonight if you send it.
Yeah, I will. It's pretty cool. It's not that long either, but okay. So we're just gonna finish up a couple of questions and some questions from viewers. A selfish question for myself is, I don't know if I know that we all try to be open-minded, especially before we even get to medical school, about like what specialty you'd want to go into. So I don't know if you have an idea yet or not, but how do you plan to incorporate nutrition or exercise into your career as a future physician? If you do, or if you've thought about that.
So I've definitely, through the standardized test that all pre-medical students have to take, through my studying, I've ran through some practice problems, and it talked about obese patients and being more mindful of obese. When you tell obese patients to lose weight or XYZ, they're not really going to adhere to it. But instead of telling them to lose weight, frame it as like try to put on strength, like try to lift weights, and that could affect them positively and lead down a positive spiral. So I definitely want to be more mindful of that for sure. I would definitely have to be more conscious about nutrition as someone. I would want to practice what I preach. So I don't want to be the person who's just like, yeah, don't drink energy drinks as I'm drinking 6 energy drinks to get through clinic or something like that. But I would definitely have to implement a different lifestyle before I become a physician and give out that health advice, because I don't want to be a phony. I don't want to be a fraud. I don't want to be a Dr. Mike who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars off COVID videos and then is on a yacht partying, breaking COVID restrictions. I don't want to be that. I want to practice what I preach. I want people to see what I'm doing with my life and then be like, all right, he's a positive influence. I'm going to follow him, instead of just like going behind people's backs, being shady. I don't like that. So I definitely would have to get my nutrition together before I even give anyone advice on what direction they should take with their health.
Okay. Language is huge though too. Like that was so funny what you said at the very beginning when you're like telling an obese patient that they need to like the doctor, I don't even know, doctors, whoever, they like to tell obese people that they're fat. Like they don't know. Like they don't look in the mirror and see that. Like language is huge when it comes to medical practices and dealing with anything, whether it's nutrition and obesity, or if someone like has cardio problems and they're like, yeah, I know, I get winded going up the stairs. Like, thank you so much for enforcing that. Like,
Yeah, we really need some more education behind that and all medical careers, honestly, how to talk to people and how to build them up. And also, even if you're like, oh, you're obese, you got to lose weight, like, great. That's not teaching them how to do it. That's so important, especially obesity is an epidemic, at least in the United States. I mean, it's not an uncommon thing that's happening. So we really do need to have some
And there's
education.
there's so many factors that go into obesity, and socioeconomic class is one of them, because the cheaper like salads are like $7, and then like you go to a gas station or something, you can buy a bag of chips, like 2 bags of chips for $1. So it's obviously just, there's so many factors that go into it, and I definitely want to be so mindful of all these factors that go into everything, and just not be like, you need to do this, or you are this way, like get help. I would definitely want to be very mindful of this patient demographic, where they come from, and there's so many factors that go into obesity.
I love that. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just like love talking about it, trying to spread awareness on this for sure.
my mind went like totally elsewhere because like one of my, it's just funny how it's all connected, and like you really, everyone, we're all gonna have to work together to make any sort of difference. Like my passion is agriculture. One of my big passions, although I'm not currently doing it right now because I'm in grad school, but is like urban environments and teaching
For
children
sure.
food comes from, growing gardens. And I think that that's going to be such a cool part of it one day. It's something that I hope to do, is teach kids how to garden so that they implement that in their life. Then they maybe have access, if they have like there's vertical gardens that you can have if you live in an apartment, like just teaching people how to have access to fresh foods if they're not in that socioeconomic class that can run down to Whole Foods and spend $250 on a week's worth of groceries. And I think that the future of that is working with future physicians like you two, who are passionate about nutrition, passionate about learning and teaching people how to take care of themselves and where it comes from. And it's just, I just like, my mind just like blew off in like 20 years in the future.
I love that.
Yes, totally. That's We need to talk about that on the podcast too, just in general, where your food comes from, where your meat comes from, where everything people should be able to get educated on where their food sources are coming from. So yeah, one day in the future we can all create a nonprofit and help people.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah. Um Okay, so a couple of quick questions. Doesn't have to be too in depth or anything, but just for our listeners, how did you manage to focus on like any type of nutrition during undergrad? Because none of us have time, right? So what is that? Is that something that crosses your mind? Did you have time to meal prep? Is that something that you do now?
It was never something that ever crossed my mind. I just ate whatever was cheap, something easy to make, just efficient. Yeah, never really crossed my mind ever. And I should have been more mindful. I should have had a heart to heart conversation with someone in nutrition. It never crossed my mind. Literally never crossed my mind.
No, it's hard. Okay, so let me bounce off and to ask, what are your favorite like quick snacks on a busy day? Like something that you might grab with you or something to go into a clinic or
Okay.
work?
I really like the one protein bars that have 20 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. They're so good. The chocolate chip cookie ones are amazing. I love those. Probably beef jerky, some potato chips probably. I'm trying to think. For sure like a Life Water or something. But yeah, that's what I would go to grab.
Totally.
So I think I already know the answer to this next question because we definitely talked about it a lot. But one of the questions from a viewer was, did you struggle at all with the stigma of pre-med path when you posted your honest experience with the application cycle? And actually, I have a follow-up to that. Like, do you have any advice for people that, other than, well, just don't care? Like, do you have any advice for people that are maybe struggling through the same thing and have to admit to their family and their friends that they didn't succeed the first time?
So, I mean, I feel like it's a common experience for a lot of pre-medical students, and the fact that many pre-medical students just aren't posting about it because they're afraid to show their failures. I just wanted to show my vulnerability, and I had such a positive reaction. So many people reached out to me, so many comments, and it inspired people. So at the end of the day, I never really bought into that stigma because I'm inspiring people to continue pursuing this route. And again, I know I touched base on it, but I received so many messages. So many people just update me on their journey who are reapplicants, who are going through this again. They're just like, hey, I took the Mcat, like I did well this time, XYZ, so many different factors. They're wanting to help me with my personal statement. So many physicians reach out to me. They're just like, hey, do you need help with your personal statement? Do you want advice? And I guess showing that side of vulnerability is rare on social media. No one posts their failures, but I'm thankful I did it because so many just amazing connections I've made from that. So many messages, so much positivity was spread. So never bought into that stigma. I didn't even think about it when I posted on. I posted on social media. I was like, I don't care, as you're saying, but it's just like whatever. If anything, my parents were like, why would you post that? Like XYZ came up to me in the store and they're like, oh, so Tyler's not getting into medical school. And my reaction is like, so they saw me when I didn't get into medical school. They saw me at my lowest. So you better believe they're going to see my white coat acceptance. They're going to see me at my peak. They're going to see that and they're going to come back to you and be like, yeah, Tyler got into medical school. And that's how I react to it. I truly don't care what people say. I know my lane. I know I'm going to stick to it. One of these days I will become a physician. No one's stopping that. No one's hate on the internet can stop me from becoming a physician. They truly can't. So that's never bought into the stigmas. I don't care my social media. If you don't like it, like they don't have to follow me. Like don't buy into it. Whatever. I've received so many messages. So much. Just the outreach has been amazing. So I'm thankful I went down that route.
I
And
aspire to have that attitude. I really admire you.
same.
No, day by day we can update me. We can slowly get there. It took a lot for me to get to this mindset, but not going anywhere anytime soon.
Hell yeah.
And the community, especially just the medical community online, is actually so supportive. Just the people that I've met, and I don't share too much about like medicine as much as I do with nutrition and stuff, but people know that I'm a pre-med, like it's in my bio, and people are so supportive with anything that you post. I don't even know, Tyler and I were like, are you friends on Instagram? Is that how that works? You follow each other?
Yeah.
Like
You would send the nicest messages and I would just reciprocate that energy. And I'm thankful I found you on there somehow.
is that okay? I was like,
Connected,
we
yeah.
were just like friends, and I was like, okay, I really want to talk to him. So it's like
I followed a lot of people at first, and I think you might have been in that just like cluster of pre-med. I just went through and I followed a lot of pre-meds, and Luckily found you on there.
Yes. Yeah. It's really supportive, the whole community. And I think that it helps just to have other people on there to see other doctors being like literal doctors, like 20 years into their career being like, I had to retake the MCAT. Like, guess what? It literally doesn't affect me at all anymore. So it's like, it's hard to have that mindset in the moment, but to see that and to get onto social media and see something relatable instead of just like the perfect picture story is so important.
Yeah, and then to touch base on, I guess, the pre-med stigma, let's break the stigma. So let's make it seem it's all right to not get in. The other day I was at the hospital volunteering, and I had my MCAT book in my hand, and I actually made friends with the physician who had to retake the MCAT. And so this is a common experience for a lot of pre-medical students, and I don't know why so many pre-medical students bought into the fact that they have to get in the first time or else they need to, or XYZ, just negative thoughts. And I definitely want to break that stigma. So if anything, my post goes against the signal with hopes of breaking it.
Yeah, and if somebody listening, you have to retake the MCAT or whatever. I mean, 500 is the average MCAT score. That means that that's the 50th percentile. That means, yeah, 50% of people are doing better than that. But guess what? That also means half of the people who took the test are doing below that and might be in the same boat as you. You're just not seeing that posted. So it's important to get out there and find
And
people who can represent that.
And then at the end of the day, thinking back to those situational factors, the MCAT is one exam on one day of your life. You have 4 years of your GPA. You have 4 years of extracurriculars. You have 4 years to get letters of recommendation. This exam is one day of your life. Let's say you don't sleep that entire night because you're up thinking about the test or XYZ factors that really hinder your success on it. And it's just sad that this test can determine like the direction of your life, but at the end of the day, it's only one day of your entire life. Like, you shouldn't be too down on yourself if you don't get the score that you want.
Totally. Yeah. So this fits really perfect as our transition to our weekly challenge. So everything we've been talking about, we just really want to encourage people to allow themselves to be vulnerable this week. That's however that may present itself in your life, whether that be, being vulnerable with a friend or a family member, maybe posting something on your social media that's more vulnerable than you might have been. There's no rules here, just whatever feels good for you. Give yourself permission to be your raw, authentic self. 100%.
Yes. We love it. We love it. Now we're going to go into our this or that speed round. So don't think, just answer. If you have a little bit of a explanation, that's totally fine, but we'll just get into it. Bang or Red Bull?
Bang. I can't drink Red Bull because it makes my stomach hurt so bad. And that's why I initially never drank energy drinks. But once I found out I could drink energy drinks, it was a downward spiral.
All right. Lifting arms or legs?
Legs for sure. I can slam so much heavier than legs. And after legs, it's just so satisfying to lift like 3 times your body weight.
Heck
Yes. Summer or winter?
Fall.
Just to be difficult.
I love being outdoors. Summer for sure.
Love it. Okay. Quizlet or Anki?
Anki 100%. Never going back to Quizlet. Don't even think about Quizlet.
For those of you who don't know, that's like basically Quizlet, but it's like times 100. It's just like a way better way to use flashcards.
You'll never go back.
Yeah, you'll never go back.
Cool. Getting things done or procrastinate?
Procrastinating for sure.
Pen or pencil?
Apple Pencil.
Noise.
Stay late or get up early?
Sleeping in late.
All right. Are you a dog guy or a cat guy?
100% dog. I love my dog. My rescue dog is the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm disgusted by cats. I'm sorry. I'm allergic to them too. So that adds an additional factor to it. Not a cat person at all. Like, I hiss at them when they come by me. So don't come by me, please.
But that just means that they love you even more. They're going to sit on you. Yeah. YouTube or Netflix?
YouTube. I've never used Netflix in my life.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wow.
All right, last one here. Biochem or physiology?
None of the above. No, physiology because it relates to the body, whereas biochemistry is more like micro interactions where I guess it's cool from when you zoom in on a little picture of an organ system, but physiology is so much more interesting.
Absolutely. All right, Tyler, thank you so much for being a part of our community here. We love talking with you and getting to know you. We know people are going to love hearing about your story and everything that you have to say. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun. I really appreciate you reaching out and offering me a place on your podcast.
Yes. All right. As always, thank you to our listeners for tuning in and following along. We feel like we're finally getting the hang of this. We're truly in love with every single episode. It's truly a labor of love for us. So please let us know what you want to hear on the podcast.
Yes, and you can keep up with Tyler on Instagram at Future Dr. Tyler. To become a part of our family and community, join us on Instagram or Facebook at And a Diet Soda, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. We hope you were able to give yourself a little love today. You deserve it.
Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and check us out on social media for weekly conversations and attainable challenges for your health.